the House of Anubis series. I have all 3. So, I actually looked it up. It was like 29 episodes for the first season, so I'm assuming that they may have broken these down into 3. I'm sorry, that's not the first book. This is the first book. But I think they may have broken this down because there's a lot that happens, especially for a Search and Find series. It is, if you don't know House of Anubis, it was from 2012 to, I can't remember, 2015 maybe. It was 3 seasons. The first one was an American girl goes to a British boarding school, and basically a bunch of Egyptian hieroglyphic type of stuff happens. It's a search and find to try and find this cup, the chosen one, and then I can't remember the rest because it's been too long. Second season, can't remember a thing about it besides main girl. She starts crying gold for some reason. And then third one, I looked it up, and she's not even in that one. Apparently, scheduling conflicts happen. But, you know, I don't remember really much about it. I just remember I liked the first season, and I picked it up. And then I just kind of was like, you know what? Let's see if there's more. There's only 3. And I assume because that either this wasn't as popular or that they maybe lost the license because these 2 were made by the same person. This one was made by someone else. The first one was adapted by Peter McGrath. So that is the first and second one. So that could be it. I don't know much because I do remember third season, people were like, I remember first season being like, okay, it was a cool series, you know, that's it, said and done, that's it. No, it was not. It had a little bit of a following, but it wasn't like H2O now where people are like they had the Mako Mermaids to go off of. There's a couple of other series that have done that too, like the newest one I can think of is the new Fairly Odd Parents. And that's all I can really think of right now. But I'm kind of excited because 29 episodes, I'm a guess they're going to be all closer to either be, they're going to be like maybe an episode each, possibly, and then they just couldn't, or they're going to try and fit either 1 to 3 episodes because sometimes a lot of stuff doesn't happen in Search and Finds. It's maybe just character development. I don't know. All I remember is Victor, this guy in the back here, and then the necklace that she's holding. I don't remember much. Again, I also do remember a crow in this, but I don't know much about the series because it's been so long. Again, 2012, 10 years ago. It's been 12 years. It's been 12 years. 12 years since that show came out. I was 12 years old when this came out. This came out 12 years ago. I am old. Thank you, House of Anubis. What mystery is that? Anyway, let's get to reviewing. So, House of Anubis. The Eye of Horus. There is so much in this book. Like, so much happens in this. It's not even funny. It is practically like episode 1 through episode, it's gotta be like 8 or 9 because there's so much that happens in this and yet so little is told and shown to you. For example, the play. Okay, we don't have to see the play. Granted, I don't care. We don't have to see the play. But then there is stuff where, like, how do you get this projector running? Where do you, like, describe this attic? Describe behind this secret door. Describe the mansion. Ugh. So anyway, let's start from the beginning because I'm going to have to be everywhere for this. Like, oh my god, am I going to be everywhere for this? Ugh. Nina is from America, and she is 2 weeks late to coming to this new school for a couple different reasons. Passport issues, and her grandmother got sick. Her grandmother is her caretaker, the only caretaker she has, and she arrives late. Now, mind you, most people, when they're like this, would email them or something like that. No, that doesn't end up happening. She walks up to this place and the door just automatically opens. And Victor, who's like headmaster or something like that, he walks up and he's like, oh, I see. So people just, when they open doors, they just walk in, isn't it? When it's unlocked, they walk in. And she's like, yeah, because I'm from America. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. Hi, an American here. No, that's not how that works. But anyway, we're also in England. I don't know why specifically she had to go to England, but here we are. Also, you know what's funny? Everyone here is British except for one of the blonde-haired dudes who we see later on in the series, who's from Canada. And Nina is actually from Spain, so you're not a real American either. She is roomed with Patricia, and Patricia is described in this one as, Nina was just settling in when a slim girl with blue and purple extensions streaked her dark hair rushed in, red-faced and very angry. I can't read either, by the way, apparently. So let me just show you what Patricia looks like. Patricia is this one. Red extensions, mostly red-brown hair. I have not seen the first episode. It's been too long, so I actually have no clue if, like, her extensions change. All these other pictures don't depict it, so maybe it was just that one. I have no clue. But she is roomed with Patricia as her roommate. And the person that used to be in there, Joy, is her friend. And they were roommates. But it really is like that, like, bruh, best friend? Yes. Lover? Like, she's really like, I have to find Joy. Where is Joy? What have you done to Joy? And Nina's just like, I just fucking got here. I've done nothing to you, man. But Victor is like, yeah, Joy kind of left. Mind you, she left her stuffed animal, a photo, and her cell phone. Which already I would have been like, no. If I'm leaving, I'm taking everything with me. And at least I'm texting my friend being like, hey, I'm leaving, because, again, they have cell phones. But this is the age of also MP3 player and new recording on MP3 player. Anyway. Also, cell phone have light now. Whatever generation iPhone this was. Immediately, Patricia's like, what have you done to her, Nina? And Nina's like, I didn't do shit. And enemy for life, pretty much. So, again, she is not welcomed at all, like at all, to the point where Patricia yells at her at every chance she gets. And this is where the story drifts off a bit, because this shit goes so far. There's like very strict rules, like be in your room by 9, everything off by 10, you can't go into the basement, the attic, that sort of thing. And this is like a dorm room, and the classes are like in a different building, so I don't remember what it looks like. We're not described on that. You just kind of assume at first that this whole place has part school, then you go off to another area, and there it is. But no, I think it's like a completely different building. Anyway, we also, let me just say this now too, no one has character development. No one has anything. Nina does, mostly. Patricia's just a bitch. There's Amber and Mara. Mara disappears after a while. But Amber and Mara both like this guy. But Amber is dating said boy. They break up later because she just forgets about their date. And she's kind of heard about it, but then she's like, I got this thing that I'm working on with Nina and you'll see who later. To be initiated into the house of Anubis by Patricia and a couple of others, she is to take the attic key from Victor and to go into the attic. She ends up doing that, and Patricia grabs the key from her hand as soon as she gets up there, pushes her in, and locks Nina inside. Everyone scatters after they hear Victor coming, and Nina ends up, I take that back, I forgot something because she becomes pregnant later. Sarah gave her this amulet that you see here. Also, do you see that hand? I completely forgot it was a hand, but this thing here. And when she goes to step back so that way she's not caught and she hides, a room opens up and that little Anubis eye thing, it basically helps her through a lot of stuff in this to open passages and a couple of other things. But she ends up going into the secret room and then also sees a portrait in there of Sarah, which, again, will come later. Fabian ends up joining her after some time, and they are like the duo for a short amount of time until Amber decides to follow her because Patricia and Amber switch rooms because Patricia tried to steal the necklace from Nina to give to Rufus because Rufus is like, hey, I'll help you find Joy, because Patricia actually does a great thing and calls the cops and says, hey, my friend Joy is missing. She left all this stuff here. I think something is wrong with her. But I also just want to check and make sure that she actually did leave because her parents like couldn't afford to come here anymore. And they tell her, yeah, her parents called us, like she just couldn't afford the place, yada yada yada. Helps her a bit, but Rufus comes along and is like, no, actually, there's something worse. They also, in secret, because she's listening to Victor and a couple of other teachers, say that they buried Joy. So, yay. Rufus is like, hey, I need you to get that pendant. It'll help us find Joy. And Patricia fails. Amber and Patricia switch rooms. But when Patricia gets Nina to kind of follow her, I take that back. That's way later on. Amber joins the group because she follows them and thinks Fabian and her are dating, like her and Nina. It does not matter. He has no personality besides he loves Nina. Next thing, Patricia basically drags Nina into the forest and is like, hey, I need you to come here because your Anubis thing is an ancient relic. She's like, I don't give a shit, but I'll follow you anyway. And they see Rufus get abducted and taken into a van, and she ends up joining this group. They call it the, whatever Anubis is backwards. Sabina. I don't care. I truly don't care. So, later on, they try and talk to Sarah again, but Sarah does not like anyone besides Nina. There's also talks of a chosen one, which they believe it to be Joy. It's obviously not. It's obviously Nina because the Americans must save the British. This is by law. What have you not learned in your history books? There's also a point in the book where Amber's like, why don't you like Nina? Is it because she's American? And Patricia just kind of looks at her like, bitch, no, I just don't like her because she did something to Joy. So, fast forwarding a bit, this hot young teacher is the newest member of this group where they're trying to find another elixir of life. And they find out Victor is he's been around for a long time, since 1922, probably before that. And this group of them are trying to find more of this elixir to be alive longer. In doing so, they try and put on this play, but kind of loosely hinted on ancient Egypt and stuff like that. So that's going on. There's no real detail about it. Don't worry about it. You only get partial play stuff every once in a while. They do all these clues that I'm not going to describe to you because most of them either lead to, hey, here's another clue, or hey, it's in a dictionary, or hey, it's on a chandelier, or hey, it is in this oven that leads downstairs to this basement where they find the elixir, where also they get pranked by Jerome and I forget who else. And one of the boys actually, I think it's Alfie? Yeah, Alfie. He gets locked down there and he ends up having to go to the hospital because they accidentally feed him the elixir of life, which I don't think they ever tell him either. That's the funniest shit. And at the hospital, it's Patricia and Jerome. And Patricia sees Rufus there and she abducts him, takes him into the garage, and is like, hey, like, you know more than what you're up to, and we're gonna keep him here so that way he can tell us this. I don't remember what he says, but he's gone the next day, so basically, fuck us, I guess. The Ancient Egypt play is set to commence, and Patricia realizes that Joy is in the audience, but in secret. Nina has a short amount of time to where she has to get this puzzle piece, that basically, the two puzzle pieces, that one for Victor, one for Nina, and it's supposed to be like another way to admit that the chosen one is connected, or there may be more than one, or it could be, hey, the chosen one that you have is probably not the chosen one, and that if whichever side has it is either really good or really bad. I can't remember. It's basically just, hey, you need all these things. They also get projector stuff of Victor being confirmed to be really old, and Sarah being the one recording this stuff. I forget her parents' names, like the last name is hard to pronounce, so I don't really care to say it out loud. She arrives, the play goes so well. Victor realizes that she's in the audience, and everyone also realizes that Rufus is there, but for some reason Victor doesn't care that Rufus is there, even though he's not hiding himself. Who cares, I guess. We also get a lot of diary entries from Nina that sometimes give us plot behind the scenes. Other times it just recaps what we just saw. Does not matter. Do not care. Can you tell I'm over this book already? Oh my gosh. Also, this is a wibble-wobbly book. It is very wibble-wobbly. It basically ends with... Who's in the group? It's Patricia. I don't want to say Jerome and Alfie, but I'm going to add them in anyway. Nina, who at one point wants to leave, which I'm like, yeah, I would have wanted to have left early on. Amber, Fabian, and then that's pretty much it. And they have this Sibina group or whatever, and they basically are trying to get to the bottom of why, number one, why these people want to live for so long, and number two, like, what else this house hold, because Sarah's like, yeah, this place is bad. Because also we find out that Nina has no parents. Her parents died in an accident. I think we also learned later on that, like, a bunch of these people were in the school. Like, their parents went to the school. Do I know? I'm probably remembering it as I'm reading this. There's so much that's just bad at you. Let me just, I know I'm going to keep bringing it back, but the H2O one, episode 1, very clearly a plot. It revolves around this plot. Same with the one with, the one book where Lewis is trying to help Ricky and Emma by testing, like, how much water they can actually have in the products that they use before they turn to full mermaids, and it's like 32% or something like that. And then you would also have something with Cleo going on. Or there would be the mermaid, not the mermaid competition, but the best sea queen competition, that sort of thing. This one is so many, like, episodes trying to put into one. We have no character development besides 2. Even though I have, like, these pictures of the characters, I still don't know anything about them. Nothing is described about the house. Like, a few things are. I don't know these teachers except for the young one. Even though apparently these other ones are, like, very prominent. Like, everyone's just mean to Nina for no reason. Like, there is no absolute reason. This is the closest. And at some points, I'm like, oh my god, we're getting to a very interesting, like, point blank, like, we're getting a plot. We're developing character. Never mind, it's only one. Because, again, Patricia and Nina are the only ones with character. Fabian has just, I like Nina. I'm going to do this. Amber has, oh, I used to have a boyfriend. Now I'm just with this group. No one has a character. I'm going to say this is a 1. This is 100% a 1. Like at the top here. A 1. I wonder if it'll go up from here. No. Again, why did you put so much? Because I have yet to rewatch the series. So I'm just sitting here like, this series is like 27 episodes, the first season. It cannot be this rushed. And especially because it's just, boom, they find this projector. Boom, they find this thing. Boom, they find this. Bam, bam, bam. And it's like, there's so much. And it's not described. You got no character. And for 123 pages, you would have thought maybe it's just book 1 and 2. Or episode 1 and 2. Then you get to book 2, or book 2 that has like 3 and 4, and you get more information. Would have been so much more intriguing. Also, who's the author of this? It's like Pete McGrath. If this was a summary of the show, like the episodes that I've done with my other stuff, yeah, 100%, I'd be like, okay, I see where you're going with this. You're just boom, 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 whatever. It's just basically, this happened in this episode, we move on from there, just trying to get the plot going. But this is a book on a TV series that is supposed to make me want to watch the show. It doesn't. Not in the slightest. This is one. I almost hit my drink. That would have been a Nightmare on Elm Street. Next one is The Cup of Anka, A-N-K-H. Dear Lord. Oh, is there any different pictures? Oh, would you look at that? Oh, we got Jerome to look for him. He's got the Jasper stare from Twilight. Hold on. Or it's Jack Dylan Pooper. Oh, I just realized that in this picture, I keep having to move it. Patricia does not have her streaks in her hair, so I guess they gave it up because I guess she was supposed to be the bad girl or whatever. She wasn't. She was just a bitch. That's all she was. She was a bitch. The other Alfie and whatever his name is are Jerome. They're pranksters. They do 2 pranks. And one of them is literally waking Nina for no reason. Because Patricia said. And also, Amber is like ditzy because she's blonde. Get it? I'm already over it. I'm over it. I am over it. I'm over it. What page is this? Why does it just stop giving me page numbers? Because, hold on. It goes to 115, 1 whatever. Then nothing. Again, then nothing. And then nothing. Why? What is the inconsistency? Okay, let's go back. 115, 16, 17, 18. 118. Okay, so this is shorter. We also have a prologue for some reason. I don't care enough. All these chapters are short. But at what cost? You haven't realized this, but I haven't started the Chronicles of Vladimir Todd yet. I'm so annoyed. You had the choice of developing your character in this, and you don't. That's what makes me more upset. And how you're supposed to detail this, how you're supposed to draw me in this suspense. To be fair, I could have just read the first page, then the last page, and be like, oh wow, I learned so much. That Nina arrived at this place, and at the end, she's still here, solving mysteries. That's it. Come here, small child. Look at the chunky monkey. Isn't she much more interesting than a... Why'd you do that? Isn't she much more interesting than a book with no plot or characters? You can tell by her face just by what she's thinking and what she's probably been through. Annoyance. We're gonna try this recording style. Do you like to hear the sound of the crickets at night as some sort of therapeutic way of sleeping? Yeah, I don't have that choice right now. You're gonna have to deal with it too, so suffer. To be fair, I could probably tune it out. Watch me not be able to go to sleep. It's somewhere over there. My cats just have to either find it or it'll die. I don't fucking know, man. I just suddenly got in here, but I'm actually not finished with this book. It is the Cup of Anka. It's the second one. I'm on page 19. And boy, do I have some grievances. Also, hi, Gibby with the banana. It's going to be there for a minute. I love it so much because every time I look away, I'm like, ugh, who is that? And it's like, it's Gibby. He's been enraged. But there is a prologue in this book that immediately begins to retell what happened in the first one, along with chapter 1, page 3, that begins to retell the events of last book's encounters. And I wanted to talk about this before I forget it, because again, I'm on page 19, and I'm gonna read that whole page for you because, dear God, did I think they just tried to rush these out because they wanted to? Because again, there's like 29 episodes. You could make all of these episodes into multiple books. Like, and be, like, you can get through everything. I don't know why they're doing it like this. But they also have a weird thing with Alfie going on where I thought Alfie knew in the first one. Maybe I'm misremembering. But I'm not rereading it, so I guess he kind of knows now. But anyway, we're going off based off last time's events where Nina and Fabian are coming back from the play. Victor automatically tells them, hey, you and Mia. Patricia and I think it's Amber are there. I think it is Amber are there. And Patricia's like, yo, Victor, you told me Joy was not here. Why is she here? Why was she in the stage? Turns out she was, but she had to quickly leave and be escorted out because her dad works for the government. They had to go into, like, the witness protection and whatnot. I don't believe that bullshit. Like, even then, like, you would have been taken so far away, you wouldn't have been able to even come around here. But anywho, so, again, that's a ruse. The kids believe it, they kind of don't. I wouldn't expect you not to. I didn't. I wouldn't have. But here we are. So, after that, they have these puzzles. They have a total of 5. And they're trying to figure out where the next one is. And Nina has apparently been having this dream via Sarah. I don't think I actually mentioned this, but Sarah's parents helped open the House of Anubis. I don't remember if I said that in the first one or not. They're long gone. I don't think we actually get an indication of how they died. I think it may have just been they passed away. And Sarah's like, she's old. I want to say like 70, 80 years old. I'm not too sure myself. Basically, Fabian realizes that the code that Nina has been hearing Sarah say, because she sometimes has these, sometimes she doesn't. I'm sure the show tells you a lot more. Are we making biscuits? No, she's gonna clean herself. She was like, Mom. But he finds out that the date is actually Sarah's birthday. And it is actually a clock. And the code for this. And at 3, the clock opens up and there's no puzzle that is in there. They immediately are like, okay, we have the puzzle. Puzzle number 5. It's Sarah's birthday. It opens up. Yada, yada, yada. I don't remember what it does because that doesn't matter right now. So we later get a few things. We get a toxicology report of what Alfie drank, because you gotta remember, Alfie drank this elixir stuff. Also, I'm not remembering if I actually told you this or not, because there was a shit ton that happened in the first one to where I was like, I should have stopped at every like few chapters and been like, this happened, this happened, this happened. I'm not going to do that. I didn't do that, so here we are. But Alfie, well, I'll do it now. But Alfie, what is it made of again? I'll have to dig it up. It's like a minimal, like, of stuff here. Second do for crack your mother, too. A mixture of water, ginseng, angelica, and cinnamon bark. So so basically Alfie may be immortal. We don't know for sure. But that's done. Fabian also decides that he's gonna keep the puzzle pieces to himself. There's a weird little side thing where he accidentally drops one and Alfie has it. Patricia finds it, gives it back. Didn't need to be written in here, but here we are. It's literally, hold on, where is it? It's page 9, right here at page 9 where I underlined, and it's given back at page 10, the very bottom here. Okay, so again, they find this thing for Nina's birthday. It's one of the puzzles. And my thing was this, that if they get more puzzle pieces, or even this one in particular, why? Because Nina decides for one of these other puzzle pieces, which is puzzle piece number 4 or whatever, to do her birthday. And again, we don't get a day of her birthday. It's her birthday. And she opens it. Her birthday opens it. There's no reason for it to be her birthday. It could have been the day that the school was open, the death date of Sarah's parents, Victor's birthday, Rufus's birthday. It could have been the day of these recordings. It could have been this newspaper clipping that comes up later. It could have been like a lot of other dates, and yet it's hers and it's not explained why. Again, she's the chosen. I don't give a shit. I truly don't give a shit. Tell us the day of the chosen one's birthday. What if Joy and Nina were both born on the same day? I bet you that's what's gonna fucking happen, but here we are. So, this portion here on page 15 comes up, and I'll read another page from here. But Nina, for some reason, very randomly, begins to think that the house is trying to talk to her. There is no indication at all. None of the events that have led up to this have led us to think that the house is trying to communicate with Nina. Nothing has spoke to her. She's only had dreams. And the only indication with these dreams is possibly the necklace that Sarah gave her could be talking to her. Because the first book where she finds this open room to get away from Victor up in the attic, that was by circumstance. You got water all on me. But that was by happenstance. Everything else has been these riddles that her and Fabian, or her and Patricia, her and Amber have found. So even then, it's very weird that she would have thought, hey, you know what? I think this house wants to talk to me. Very, very weird. Just out of the blue, just decides to do this. And she basically is like, hello, house, I'm Nina, but I guess you know that. Okay, house, what do you want me to find? And the house basically answers her by a gust of wind and gives her a newspaper of Victor and Rufus shaking hands in front of the plaque for the boarding school founded on Anubis estate. And also there is a young Sarah. It's not saying how old she is, but it just says they all look the same age. And again, this also leads them to believe that the elixir of life is truly a thing and not just it's a possibility. And also Alfie comes up to them and is like, hey guys, I know I haven't been like kind of all there, but like I while I was down there, I saw Victor and a bunch of the teachers and Rufus, and they were like doing this seminar and they were drinking from a skull, and it was like really weird, and like I'm just not remembering it. And then they kind of tell him like, hey, you probably drank from this elixir thing. They had the elixir. Maybe what you have might have been not 100%, but it was something. And it doesn't show us anything of how Alfie reacts to this. Instead, I want to read you, because Nina gives us little diary entries every once in a while, and that I think it's time for a story time. Dear diary, The elixir of life is real. Today we found a photo of Sarah, Victor, and Rufus that was taken in 1960, more than 50 years ago. Even though Sarah has aged, Peter and Rufus look almost exactly the same. By the way, Sarah has said I didn't want to take the elixir of life before. So no shit, honey. They must be drinking the elixir to keep themselves young. Creepy. Victor is scary enough, but Rufus is the one I'm really worried about. A few weeks ago, he kidnapped Patricia and tried to blackmail members of the society to get more information about the Cup of Anka. Amber and I found Patricia in an abandoned warehouse near the school, but Rufus locked us inside and took Patricia with him. Thank heavens for Fabian. He tracked us down and got out of the warehouse. He was so heroic. We managed to save Patricia as well, but Rufus escaped. He is ruthless and will stop at nothing to find the Cup of Anka before we do. You mean to tell me that you led chapter, maybe 2, of all that happening out of your damn book? Like, just out of the blue, you're like, oh yeah, we'll jump. Yeah, because it says, Miss Sweet was great in essays when suddenly the door opened. Yeah, what? Why? What's the point of that? This book is already like 100 and, again, it doesn't show the 15, 16, 17, 18, 118 pages. It's a little shorter than the first one. You couldn't spare us a detail on how Rufus was kind of getting into people's heads, trying to make them find the Cup of Anka and shit like that. Or how Patricia was kidnapped by Rufus. Like how Fabian saved the day. You know, our potential love interest for Nina. Oh, also, I don't know shit about Jerome. Who's Jerome? His picture is here. Who's Jerome? I haven't heard about him. I've probably heard about him once or twice. But just on page, what are you, 19? You just decide to go, fuck you. And by the way, after that, it's chapter 4. It's like, what's the point of you making that series? Because that is a very detailed, like, search and find. Let me say this now. Nancy Drew can do it in such a short amount of time because things are woven and walked through to lead you to discover the mysteries of this. House of Anubis is not. I do believe House of Anubis has more stuff behind the scenes going on and more character development. But to be honest, if you're going to just have it be 3, you should have taken out the love stuff, or you could have just followed either A, Nina, B, Patricia, or C, Victor. One of the 3, just because it would have been better, or even better. If you're gonna rush this book, don't make it at all, because there's so much that goes on, and I know it seems like, oh, they did this, oh, they did this, oh, they did this. Yeah, it feels like that because they're doing search and finds and they're trying to find clues and stuff like that. But, like, I know these characters, you know, have characters somewhere. And maybe they couldn't take the characters from the show and put them on paper. Because Fabian has been nothing heroic whatsoever. Fabian has been following Nina and not saying much. Sometimes he's a little smart, but, like, that... he's kind of not. Patricia's been a bitch, and then now she's got no personality besides her love for Joy, who, very queer-coded, and also, I'm rooting for your sister. But then there's Nina, who just suddenly is now, besides just being main character syndrome with no personality, that it could be, like, you planting yourself in her shoes. Now it's suddenly... the house is talking to her. What's the point of the house talking to her? Why is the house talking to her? The house has never spoken to her. Oh, is it supposed to be like these dream things? I don't know for sure, because we've not been shown this. And it hasn't been like a discussion in the group. I forget the group's name. The whatevers. That, in truth, it makes no sense for any of this to be happening still. Honestly, like that first week, Nina should have been like, you know what? Grandma's at home. She could get sick again. Fuck you guys. I'm out. Like, and that's it. Like, she could have gone home. That's it. She truly could have. But I'm just like, you could have character. The H2O books we had. So much character in them that we get into the mind of Ricky. How Ricky doesn't like Emma. And like, both Emma and Ricky can agree that Cleo, they like Cleo and want to protect her. But Cleo has selfish tendencies. Very selfish. And then for the Tinkerbell series, all of those characters have some sort of personality. Especially Rainy, Tink, Vidya, Bess a bit, and a couple of the new characters that like were introduced. So it's very much a doable thing. With a big cast of characters too, especially some of them like with Rainy. But why in this book can it not be like an easy thing to do? I know you want to get from point A to point B to point Z. You have to make sure your character is well developed. And I know I'm getting hyped up on this. I'm only on page 20 or something like that of this damn book. Chapter 4, mind you, of book 2. But there's no personality. This is just, hey, the search and find game where you just play along and watch these characters go in every direction and somehow be still brought back together because plot says so. I have thought no dire situation was going to happen to these kids. With Alfie being in that basement, I was like, oh my gosh, something is going to happen. No. To be fair, when he started seizing, I was like, oh my god, he's either going to die or he's going to live forever and he's going to have a crisis. We don't get that. We don't get that. The thing with Nina, we could have had like a chapter or two where she finds out that this house is talking to her. We don't get that. She suddenly just goes, okay, house, I'm listening. House, what do you have to say? Ah, I see. It could have been something like that. But there's not. It would have been a thing, too, if she went to Sarah and Sarah would have just said, the house would like to speak to you. And she's like, what do you mean the house wants to speak to me? She points to the necklace, the Anubis necklace. And she's like, it's been speaking to you ever since before I gave you that. And then she just falls asleep. That would have been something. It would have been cryptic as hell. But it would have been something, you know? Needy child. But anyway, I think this is running on longer than what the other review is. But I'm just so angry. This is getting a 1 before it even hits the counter. Like, this is just so bad. Because, mind you, this has only been a few days afterwards because I've been doing other shit. But I don't want to read this. I don't want to do this series. This is just a bad series. But it's like, if I read this, I can appreciate the actual TV show more. You know? But in 29 episodes, all you can give to me is not only 3 books, but 3 books that don't go anywhere and are basically just, oh, you know, kid A through B found this, kids D through Z found this, and then they all somehow all came together and they did the cha-cha slide. Like, even Victor, whose main purpose is to be cryptic and be like, I'm trying to get in your way. Same with Rufus. They're not anymore. They're just annoying and they're easy to get around. I don't get it anymore. Like, what is the point? What is the point? Mama, what's the point? She's watching Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda back there. She's very intrigued. Do you want to go fly in the magic dragon? She's not anymore. She's embarrassed. Anyway, I guess I'll come back to you whenever I finish that. Again, 100 and something pages, and I'm only on page 20. Hey, at page 50, whatever, I get to see more pretty pictures. Yay.
Much later.
So the rest of book 2. Oh, it's a definite one for sure. For sure. I kind of forgot where I left off in this, so I'm going to try and backtrack a little bit. So after page 20, let's see here. The teachers realize that the cup has been broken into 7 pieces, and that pretty much Victor and everyone else kind of realized that the kids had been looking for these clues very late to the party, even though it's clearly like, yeah, no shit. Anyway, Sarah ends up passing away. It's very sad because Nina had been close to her. Not to the point that we get to see anything more besides her being like, you're evil! Like that sort of stupid shit, but here we are. Also, before that, Victor had ended up coming to visit Sarah the day before she passed away. And Sarah got to come into the house of Anubis one last time, and then the next day passed away, okay? So, that's great. More search and find shit happens, and Rufus is more prominent than ever, but what happens more so than anything is Jerome, let me find a picture of Jerome real quick. Jerome, this guy, is best friends with Alfie. Now, he's a dickhead and is basically telling Alfie, hey, we're BFFs, right? So, yo, let me draw a picture of some of the pieces, right? And he's been helping Jerome a little bit. No reason other than, hey, I can, and watch me do it, and I'll threaten you, which he's a dickhead. The only reason why he started doing that, truly, was because he felt left out. Boo-hoo. Cry me a river. And so, he gets added on later on because Rufus starts threatening him after he only has one piece and he can't get the others because Nina and them are quite smart and are like, yeah, we don't trust you one bit. They end up helping Joy kind of like scheming a plan for later on that on this particular day that happens every 25 years because Victor has been trying to find everything. They hid the pieces. One of the pieces is with Rufus. They steal it back. They do a bunch of other stuff that does not matter up until this point near the end, which is prom. Prom is not talked about until, let's see, 96. And we have page 96, mind you, and we have like 117 pages. Yeah, and all page 119, or 97 for chapter 19 is all up to the end. Anyway, they decide that day, because at midnight, the society, what Victor and the teachers are a part of mostly, that they are going to go and do that ceremony and put the cup together. The chosen one, Joy, is going to put it together and everyone's going to have eternal life. And basically, they have a scale of life where they tip it, where Joy is the savior and the rest are Nina and them. Great. Doesn't end up happening, but great. So Trisha tells Joy their plan, and the cup is split. Not split, but like it's set in a tree safe and sound. And funny enough, Joy and the rest of them are like, hey, we've been following you because we knew this was kind of going to happen. Follow us and put it together. Mind you, Patricia, Nina, and a couple of others are trapped in with Rufus, and Rufus has these like bugs that are like very deadly poison. And they basically are like, nuh-uh, and they rush out. Jerome is basically doing the one good thing in this, and he breaks it to where Rufus has to get, like, he gets poisoned and, like, stung by these bugs. So, good for us. Joy tries putting the pieces together, but she cannot. It is later turned out because also, Fabian actually says, hey, Nina, I think you're the chosen one. No reason whatsoever. Other than, hey, all these pieces are kind of coming together in your hands really weirdly. And maybe, like, near the end where Sarah's like, hey, you should go and put the cup together. Yeah, that's it. Nothing else. And maybe the house talked to you maybe once or twice. I think you may be the chosen one. So we also find out that Nina was born July 7th at 7 a.m. And Joy was born July 7th at 7 p.m. So, they're not related in any way, but I do think it's not talked about in here. I think it is talked about more in the show and maybe later on where Nina's parents also went to this school. I'm not sure. I think that's probably the only way, because it's no longer talked about after this. It's like, hey, it was supposed to be all these members here that either went to this school still or like they had some pact with Victor. And Victor's dad also created the elixir of life, and he had an accident before he could either take it, but everyone else has eternal life. Like, the newest one is their apparently hot new teacher, but whatever. So, again, during prom, all of this is happening, and they wait, and everyone scurries off from the society members. And they have to separate because they're like, this didn't work. We don't have any elixir, blah, blah, blah. Nina and them come down, end up doing, like, having the cup be presented. But Rufus comes down alive, has an elixir to heal himself. Okay, buddy, whatever. And he holds, like, one of the bugs up to Amber's ear and is like, hey, if you don't give this to me, I'm going to, like, make sure that she dies, pretty much. And they do. Funny enough, he takes a coin and it basically is like, hey, Alfie, don't you feel a little weird? And Alfie starts to fake that he's having, like, he's dying. And Rufus runs off, drinks the elixir, thinks he's alive, or thinks he's that, like, made eternally whatever stuff, and runs off into the sunset. Doesn't end up happening. They basically gave him that fake stuff that, Alfie drank beforehand, which means that I'm remembering that Alfie is highly allergic to whatever ingredient that was, and it's never talked about again. But he's basically a good faker, and again, it is proven that Nina is the chosen one, and Sarah's ghost and her parents' ghost are released, and everything seems to be hunky-dory, because for some reason in the school of, like, 8 students, we don't get to see or hear anything else about these people. That Nina and Fabian are crowned king and queen. They kiss, and yay. 1. This book gets a 1. And that would seem like the end of it, wouldn't it? That Nina basically put the cup under the stage of the school. You couldn't have, I don't know, broken it and thrown it into the ocean or anything like that, so that way this never would have happened. Or everyone else could have had a piece of it. Like, she could have broken it again, taken a piece of it, and then, like, just thrown it everywhere. Because, again, they thought it was also melted because Rufus threw it in there for whatever reason. It did not melt. And, again, could have broken it, given it to everyone, and said, hey, when you guys go home to wherever, you need to throw it there. Because, again, Nina's from America, so she could just take it the long way and then just throw it. I don't remember where she's from, in what part of America, but... So again, that would seem like the end, because all's well that ends well. There is no more the Cup of Anka. There's no Egyptian whatevers. There's just... Oh, and apparently there's Mick, who becomes prominent later. Does not matter. We don't learn shit about Mick at all. Like, it does not matter. It does not matter. There is no character development. We just suddenly get that Fabian and Nina like each other. Okay, you want to show us? You want to show us? You mean the one thing with Patricia getting abducted and, like, Fabian having to save Patricia and Nina? Yeah, would have loved to have seen that. We don't get it. What's the point? Like, okay, you rush this so much so to where there is no point in this. Like, not a point. There's not even, like, a detail on what the girls or the guys wore to prom. Except for Mick, who wore a tuxedo. Cool, what color, what style? Like, how did he look? We don't care. And Jerome, at least, like, does a hateful prank on fucking Amber. And Alfie comes to save the day and is like, here, I actually got back your dress from Jerome because he stole it. Like, here, do you want to go to prom with me? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But then we have book 3. it's also done by a different person. It's adapted by J.E. Bright. Again, 2012. Probably came out at the same time. They were not popular whatsoever. And again, this kind of ends with oh my gosh, guys, we did it. Woohoo! This should have just ended at book 2. Can you read this for me? The end of book 1. I should not have picked up and continued. Like, these are such short books, too. Like, and I kind of had high hopes, but I kind of figured that they never continued on because not a lot of people read them. The show, if I remember correctly, got, by season 3, a lot of people started to not watch it because second season was like, why are we here again? First season kind of ended, you know, how this one ended, where it was hitting, that was it, everyone goes their separate ways, that sort of thing. Season 2 brought them all back. It had, you know, Crying Gold or whatever. I think Joy is in that one. Destroy everything in my pants. Then in the middle of season 3, they put it on Nicktoons, which, if you don't know Nicktoons is a lot of like reruns, or it's where new shows go to die. Like the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show went on there. A lot of Fairly Odd Parents stuff started to go on there. Danny Phantom. It was old. I want to say like 2007 to 2010. SpongeBob was on there. Like it had those type of shows, and when like a newer show gets put on there, like when they go to Disney XD, it's where the show goes to die. And that's essentially all new episodes went there. Nothing else talked about it. That was it. It was done. Because I think even then, that third series, Nina wasn't in it. She couldn't be in there. But here we are. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad. Third book. So this one, they definitely tried to fit all of season 2 in just one book. If the third one had gotten popular, they may have done the same thing. I don't remember anything about it. I do remember, in this one, Crying Golden Tears. Don't mind Leo, he's just being Leo. So I want to point out a few things here. Mara, who's in the last one, is basically non-existent in this one. Because it says, when Mara's boyfriend Mick moves to Australia, Mick was in the first one, he fucked off. And Mara finds herself drawn to Jerome. Jerome is maybe in this like 2%. Kind of at the very beginning. And then helps at the end. I will explain later. We also get, what's his name? What you say? When bad boy Eddie arrives at House Anubis, sparks fly between him and Patricia. Really? Let me find you that exact paragraph of how much of a bad boy he is. And this is chapter 8, page 47. The next morning at breakfast, the students were introduced to Eddie, a new Anubis house member. Eddie was American and had spiky blonde hair and a sarcastic wit. He flirted with the girls and charmed all of them, much to the dismay of the other boys. That is it. That is all you get. You do not see him interact with anyone near the end. You see him interact with Patricia as they're coming in. And then this doesn't even make sense because the ending portion has it be like, oh my god, this guy is like super duper like a very important thing for later on. Okay. Going back. Ma'am, we're going back. So, summer has passed. They all are back at the house of Anubis. Things are seem to be going fine. Gran comes over one time because she's doing like the Europe trip. She's going like across a couple castles in England, and she's going to Scotland, that sort of thing. She's doing whatever. She's living her life. She's doing great. Until she's not. It really is though. So, oh my god, there's so much that happens in here. I don't even remember the beginning portion. So, essentially, very beginning, they realize, hey, there's more secret stuff here. And not only that, but like Nina takes the cup of Anka back out from underneath the floorboard of like the stage. I don't know why. I do, but I don't. again, she could have broken it and everyone could have, like, separated it. Like, one part's in America, the other parts are in England. You'll never be able to put it back, okay? We found out that Rufus had died suddenly, very suddenly, and, like, turns out he doesn't have the elixir, blah, blah, blah. Like, he never had the elixir stuff. So, we also kind of discover that, again, more stuff in this house. Like, they go up to the attic, and there's a dollhouse that used to be Sarah's, and it's basically a replica of the house. While, like, they're trying to escape and not get caught, Nina's like, hey, I gotta hide this real quick. Like, you all go ahead. She hides it in this hidden compartment that, like, opens up for her. And while she's trying to run down, she accidentally knocks over a porcelain doll. That releases a being. Does it actually say on here?
No.
Sankara. I don't know how to pronounce her name. But anyway, she basically, more than this house did, she starts talking to Nina and saying, hey, you need to find this mask, this Anubis mask. And she's like, why? And then the person's like, do it. And she's basically a god that is bad juju, essentially. No shit. Her and Fabian break up. There's no need for it. Like, there's one portion where Fabian is teaching Joy. I forget what. Like, he's tutoring her. And that makes her kind of jealous, but it's like, she's kind of like, oh, whatever. And then suddenly it's just like, we should break up. And it's like, you didn't have chemistry in the first one. Why the fuck would I care that you suddenly broke up now? Like, oh my god, these characters that maybe never said I love you, but kissed at one point. So that happens. The dollhouse as well kind of comes to life at points in time. It's a little bit wonky. It's weird. But whatever. More clues happen. Now, I do mean more clues happen. Linkara, to be fair, just as annoying as Linkara. But she starts to come around, basically be like, hey, you're not finding my shit fast enough. And it's like, we're going through all of these. And they must be, like, in this book, it seems like they're going through them in a day. But I think in the show, it's like weeks and months on end. I can't recall at the point in time, but that's why I'm assuming. And she's like, you're not finding my shit fast enough. In place of this, she decides to curse them. And it's like an Anubis type of mark on Nina that goes to Fabian that later goes to everyone after they help out. So mind you, I gotta remind you who the Anubis members are. There is Nina, there's Fabian, there's Amber, there's Patricia, there's Alfie. I think I already said Amber. And then there was supposed to be Jerome. Out of all of them, it's Nina, Fabian for most of it, Amber sometimes, Patricia's off doing whatever half the time. And it's not explained why, but in this picture thing, apparently she's over here dating bad boy, supposed to be Ricky Chadwick over here. You'll never be Ricky Chadwick. I'm sorry, you're not. You're not witty like that. I'm sorry, you're not. And then Alfie starts to put himself more forward, but at the same time, I think in the show, it was Amber and Alfie kind of like hooking up, not hooking up, that sort of thing. But I have not watched the show in quite a long time, so that could be like, and again, seeing that picture of Mara and then her not even being mentioned in this is really funny. If she is, I don't remember. But anyway, to really dumb it really down, Victor tells them that there is a Egyptian thing like that Sarah's parents have, and it's all down at the library or somewhere close to the school. And that's where they kind of get a lot of their Egyptian artifacts, which I've never been to England. And I assure you that stealing is their main attraction. So I assume a lot of those Egyptian types of little trinkets and fun stuff are not owned by them. So that's what I'm assuming. But the other thing about this is that Jake is like Fabian's godfather. Does it matter? No. Doesn't really matter. We don't get to know him. So way later on, like we're playing the search and find game. Sometimes like Sahara over here is just like, hey, you're not finding my shit. You need to find my shit. Can you find my shit? Hey, I want you to find my shit. Hey, can you find my shit? Hey, can you find my shit?
Go to horny jail.
And then over here, people are getting cursed. Then Granny gets put in a medically induced coma. And that's fantastic, might I add. It's fantastic. So now shit's getting serious. They go down into all these tunnels. They end up finding this like checkerboard that's kind of like chutes and ladders as well. Try to make it work. And at one point, because how the squares are is like if you move a certain way, you could die. But then other points are like more deadly. And Nina ends up getting put in this cell. And she sees the spirit of Victor Sr., Victor, who is in this, like, the main guy who's trying to find the eternal life, trying to find his, like, that's his dad. They look very much alike. Okay, whatever. And so, he basically starts telling her, like, hey, Sankara, whatever, she's trying to find the Anubis mask to basically be brought back to life. So that way she can become a god in the afterlife. Like, she needs a body. He also gives her a ring to give to Victor to basically say, I'm sorry for being a dick. Cool. Also, no skeleton here, so I assume it has been quite a long time. I do not know how long skeletons decompose, but, you know. Then Alfie comes down, then Patricia comes down, because they keep trying to make it work. And then suddenly, and without warning, Joy, who is also a part of this, the Sibina, however you pronounce it, that group, like, she and Fabian end up opening it, but they don't get the mask back. So, again, they have to go back, open the case, and Nina has to put on the mask. But here's the issue. Jerome finds the gem. Jerome has been on his own search and find. Do we see it? No, we don't. Don't ask questions on why or how, but fuck me, I guess. And so, Nina also puts the locket in the Anubis, and Sakara, she ends up going inside Nina's body. Portal opens up. Rufus, who faked his death, comes down with Victor. I'm not shitting you. And basically says, hey, Nina, I'll take your place. I'll become God. Nina goes, no, I have to have this on to save my grandmother, otherwise she will die too, and so will the rest of us. And he goes, no, it's okay. And then he takes it from her, and the two of them end up going to hell, because, you know, as you do. And so, as well as during that fight, apparently, what's his name, Blondie, was like the other part, like the yin and yang, Eddie. He was basically like the other part to help that mask work. Sounds stupid when I say it aloud because it was never talked about until now. And also, when they're talking about this, you think it's Fabian. Because Eddie has not been in this. Because I don't know about the TV show. But Fabian probably would have been that person. Or it could have been Alfie. But no, it's not. Also, I keep picking at this because my copy of the book has tape. But I don't want to tear all of it off in case I rip the book. But also, this book is hot garbage. So, I'm going to do it anyway. I have gotten more enjoyment out of doing this than this whole entire book series. I got the tape off on one side. Here we go with the other side. So, anyway, I'm going to do that as I try and pull the rest of it off. Oops, I'm starting to pull the cover. That's okay. Didn't need it anyway. Don't want to know what it's about anyway. Now this is bothering me. But anyway, Joy is hit by one of the beams of whatever. And she is basically like dead but not dead. And the only way to save her is the last tears, gold tears from the mask. Which basically means now that Joy is partially living as long as Victor, or however long he has, but she's alive now. That doesn't come to anyone's mind, but here we are. At least she's alive, though. So anyway, Gran's fine. There's a dance that happens because Whoop-diddy-hoo. Fabian and Nina kiss. Everyone watches because they're fucking weird, and that's it. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. It does not matter. This whole series is awful. Also, I went to nick.com because it says it right here. Nothing about this series exists. All that they had on the website was The Loud House, Dora the Explorer, SpongeBob, and I don't know about anything else. I don't remember. I took a picture of it, though. Which, that's sad. That's sad as shit. Oh, and Henry Danger. How can I forget? I need to watch that show, but also, can I be bothered? No. But anywho, you could have done much more. I keep going back to the H2O one, but you could have done. Because, especially with, apparently, Patricia and Eddie, stuff with Nina and Fabian, you could have had, like, little hints of that. Again, there probably would have been a third one if this got popular enough, but, dear Lord. Also, this was $5. I want my money back. Also, apparently this never made it to England? Even though it's set in England? Yeah, it's weird. It's crazy, right? Do you want this? I give you permission to claw this. He's like, no, I shall not mother. Do you want this? You want this? Nope, didn't even want it. Anywho, so let's go on to bigger and better. Besides the other book series, the Chronicles of Vladimir Todd, which I have yet to start as well, I wanted to do something different. I've been trying to go on to, also, I'm not going to talk about anything good about the House of Anubis. There is none. There is no character development. I'm already going to start moving on with my life. I wish to forget the series. I'm going to probably watch the TV show and be like, you know what? It had its ups and its downs, but the TV show was alright, you know? This book series, I can't say a damn thing. You know what? At this last one, I kind of was intrigued because Sakar or whatever, she was kind of being an actual threat. And then I realized, this is like days at a time, and it just seems like she's an annoying bitch. But here we are. But anyway, I've been on the hunt on YouTuber books, like actual books, not like self-help books. Like this one here needs. Cleans your foot in my face. Disgusting. I've decided to look at more YouTubers that actually published books. Gotcha John Green's. Not like the Shane Dawson's or anything like that. I guess closer to like Onision, but I'm not paying for his fucking book. I will get it secondhand. I don't care enough. But I won't buy full price for that. So, I actually found this out. In 2020, I have to remember when the Shane Dawson series on this particular YouTuber came out. This particular YouTuber has been an oldie and was quite prominent back in the day. She's not too much anymore. The name will be familiar to all of you. Brittany Louise Taylor. In 2020, I don't know if this is during or pre-planned and it just came out because I have not heard a thing about it. But she had also had another book that was a self-help book. But this one is an actual chapter book called Saintsville. And this is not mine, by the way. I got this secondhand. And at chapter 3, page 18, is where this person left off. I like to think that either this person got bored with it and left it, or decided that they just wanted to shove a bookmark in here, and there you go. But, you know, it's also hardcover, so I gotta show what the hardcover looks like. I don't remember how much I paid for it. It was cheap. But also, it's great condition for being cheap. There is just shiny there. I do not like hardcovers that give me nothing for being hardcover. But if it's cheap, hey, it was cheap. It was probably under $5-6 bucks. But anyway, if you'll excuse me, I'll probably be putting the House of Anubis books in the fire. No, I won't. I probably will just keep them on the shelf and then cry every time I look at them because I had to pay money for them. When in reality, I could have just watched the TV show and then bitched about it the whole time. I know there's a fan base of the House of Anubis. I truly do. And I genuinely know because I remember fondly of the first season. Second one, I'm being like, and then third one, rightfully, it was not given the chance to fully, bloom, succeed. Those books do not do it justice. And I'd have to look back and see when the third one was coming out, like from first, second, and third, because I do know they had quite a bit of time in between them. They may have stopped those books a little bit after, like, announcing the third series and seeing how well it wasn't doing. So, that's gonna be great. I honestly don't know what more to say with this besides see you next time, because Saintsville, Chronicles of Vladimir Todd, I would hope the Chronicles of Vladimir Todd one will be a little, like, further, because after these two, I probably should either do which is a way long series, or I'm going to try and do Blood Rose by Andrina Kramer. I think it's Kramer. I apologize. I don't know how to read. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. Again, oh, my child did have his hand on one of the books being like, be gone with that. But you know how it is. So I'll see you in whatever book review, movie review, whatever I choose to do next.